Next, I'm Abdul, a 42-year-old road sweeper in Malacca, Malaysia. My job is to clean the streets after dark, when the city is quiet and the world seems to hold its breath. But one night, I learned that some things are better left untouched. It was close to midnight when I started my shift. The old streets of Malacca, with their cobblestone roads and ancient buildings, seemed more alive than usual. I always felt like they had stories to tell. But that night, the stories were not so friendly. As I pushed my broom along Jalan Merdeka, I noticed a strange figure standing by the side of the road. It was a woman in a long red dress, her face hidden under a wide-brimmed hat. She stood still, staring at the ground, her presence almost blending with the shadows. In our local folklore, we have a ghost called the Hantu Penanggal, a female vampire who detaches her head from her body and flies around, searching for blood. I had heard tales about her, but I never thought I would encounter anything like that. I hesitated for a moment, then went up to her. "Excuse me, miss. Are you okay?" I asked. She looked up, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Her face was not fully there. It was a gaping, hollow space, with only darkness where her eyes should have been. I stumbled back, my heart racing. The folklore says that if you see the Hantu Penanggal, you should run and never look back, or she might follow you. I turned and fled, but the woman's presence seemed to hover over me, like a dark cloud. I rushed down the street, my breaths coming in ragged gasps. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up as I felt a cold, damp sensation creep over my skin. The streetlights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. When I reached the end of the road, I stopped to catch my breath. I turned around, expecting to see nothing, but the woman was still there, standing in the distance. Her head was now floating above her shoulders, and she moved slowly towards me. Desperate to escape, I dashed into a nearby alley. The darkness seemed to close in around me, and I could hear her wailing softly, a mournful, haunting sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I found a small, dimly lit shop and ducked inside. I could still hear her wailing outside, and I prayed that she wouldn't find me. The shopkeeper, an old man, noticed my terrified expression and asked what was wrong. I tried to explain, but he just nodded gravely and said, "The Hantu Penanggal is not one to take lightly. You must make an offering to appease her." He gave me a small bundle of herbs and instructed me to leave them at the crossroads where I saw her. Shaking, I took the herbs and went back to the street. The woman was gone, but I left the offering and quickly left the area. To this day, I still sweep the streets of Malacca, but I take extra care around that part of town. I learned that some folklore is not just stories, and some warnings are best heeded.